Welcome back to another episode of Living in Denver. As always, my name is Adam, and today I'm really excited. Going to share with you guys some of my recent clients that have found their dream homes here in Denver, Colorado, what their favorite areas are in 2024 here in the Mile High City. You're not going to want to miss this one. Stay tuned. So it's been a crazy year. We've had a lot of different things going on in the market. Denver, though, still continues to be really popular, and for good reason. Denver is an awesome place here in Colorado to live and call home. But I've had a lot of my clients that have had a hard time, at least in that initial stage, really just figuring out what is the best place, the best area within Denver for them to call home. So this video, I'm going to share with you 3 areas that a lot of my clients have really found to be their favorites, hoping that it might be an area that you want to check out further as well. But before we get started, don't forget, as always, I'm a licensed realtor here in Denver, Colorado. My phone number, my email, all that info is down below. And more than anything, I just love connecting with viewers like yourselves and finding out a few different ways that I can provide value. So make sure you guys reach out. I would love to connect. And one last thing, don't forget, hit that like and that subscribe button. Have new videos coming out every single week, and I want to make sure that you guys are the first to receive them. So again, though, today we're going to talk about my 3 favorite areas within Denver, Colorado, according to some of my favorite clients that I've had this year. Let's go. All right, so let's go ahead and get started, guys. So there are obviously a ton of great areas all throughout Denver, north, south, east, and west. But today, I want to share with you just some of my clients' ones that they've picked out and really have seemed to be recurring areas that a lot of people are really being drawn to here in 2024. All right, so when I work with my clients, one of the first things we start to talk about when we're identifying parts of Denver that are going to best match their needs and wants is going to be talking through location, pricing, and then also just some of the interesting, unique aspects of different parts of Denver. Whether they're interested in a master plan community, for example, versus an older neighborhood that's been around since the 50s. Those kind of things are really important to start to dial in and narrow down the best areas for those specific people. But today, just again, some of the areas that have been recurring over and over this year as being at the top of the list for a lot of people is what I want to share with you, and hopefully one, if not all 3 of these are areas that you want to start exploring further. So one last thing before I share the first of these, on my new website, check it out. I've got a link down below. I have a brand new interactive map. It actually has 20 of the most popular parts of Denver, and you can click on each of these individually and find out all kinds of great stuff between school districts, my favorite restaurants and bars and parks, and just everything that's fun to do in each of these areas. And then also you can see what are the current listings in those areas and get an idea on pricing and what types of homes are in that part of Denver. So without a doubt, this is a great resource. It's completely free. Just check it out on my website. Link is down below. And after you do that, send me a DM, shoot me an email, give me a call. I would love to help clarify any questions you might have and help you maybe go look at a few of these in person. All right, so my first neighborhood, my first area in Denver is continuing to be so popular year after year after year is going to be Highlands and also Sloan Lake. And this area used to be a very small kind of part of Highlands called West Highlands and also Lower Highlands. But nowadays, this area has just become so popular that it is really expanding into a lot larger footprint. It includes now also areas like Sunnyside, even Slow-High, which is Sloan's Lake Highlands, and even into Edgewater. So I know there might be some names you haven't heard before or aren't familiar with. What I'm just trying to get across to you is that this very popular area that used to be pretty small in size has now really expanded, where a lot of people are moving here, and because of that, the popularity is just expanding out further and further. But why I like this area so much, and I think also why a lot of my clients do, is it really is the perfect blend for somebody that wants that mix of an urban lifestyle while also having the convenience and the ability to quickly get over to the western slope and get up into the mountains. So Sloan Lake, for example, is an area that I used to live in, and it's just west of downtown Denver, and it's in fact so close that you could actually walk from Sloan's Lake and within about a 45-minute to an hour walk be right in the heart of downtown Denver, checking out 16th Street Mall and just doing all the fun urban stuff that you can do downtown. For a lot of people that are still commuting on a daily basis, or at least most days, to an office building somewhere, there's a good chance that that still might be somewhere in downtown Denver, and if so, I think this could be a great option for you. Some of my clients recently have been in this circumstance where they still are having to go into work, into their brick and mortar office, and if that is downtown, this is, I think in my opinion, a great spot because you are just far enough out of the downtown part where you're not feeling like you're so congested with just the traffic, along with a lot more homelessness and just trash and just the stuff that comes along without it, just with a city. Anytime you're in a city, you're gonna deal with some certain things that you aren't gonna deal with as much if you're in more of a suburb type environment. So I think Sloan Lake and Highlands is great because you're just far enough out where you're within a 15-minute bike ride or, like I said, an hour-long walk, yet you are just far enough away where you can kind of relax a little bit when you get home from work. Since this is one of the most popular areas in Denver, and it just continues to be year after year, that is also, though, making the pricing of homes in this part of Denver quite high. And in 2019 to 2021, when we really saw that crazy buyer just chaos where people were putting 20 different offers in on a home and people were paying significantly higher above the asking price for their homes. What happened is during that time, here we are fast forward a couple years later, and any of those people that are now trying to sell their homes have a little bit too lofty of an expectation of what their home might be worth. So when you are starting to look at homes in this area, you might find some that seem to be a bit overpriced, and at some point I think those will still fetch those dollars, and there is this intense amount of popularity still for this area. But just to avoid any shell shock or sticker shock, just be aware that this part of Denver has some very high price points. And one way they've combated this a little bit is they've started to do a lot more duplexes. So as opposed to single family homes like you'd find in a lot of other parts of Denver, with these duplexes, there's still 800,000 to 1.2 million per side of the duplex, but at least is allowing people to have a single family residence in this popular area in a small footprint, small lot size, and be in this very, very popular area. So Highlands and Sloan's Lake, great area. I loved it. I lived in there for about 5 years, and just having the ability to walk to the Broncos games. After work, I would just take my dog out for walks around Sloan Lake. It's got a great community feel to it. A lot of people that live in that area like to stay in that area. So after a few weeks or a few months of living there, you'll start to see a lot of familiar faces on the trails, and I like that. It's nice to have a little bit of that small town or just that community feel when you're in an area that is so population dense, and there's millions of people going in and out of this part of Denver on a daily basis, yet you still have these little pockets, especially in Sloan Lake and in Highlands and Edgewater, where you're going to be able to still see familiar faces and just enjoy that aspect. So definitely check out Sloan Lake, Highlands. That's my first of 3 neighborhoods that myself, as well as a lot of my clients recently, have been targeting as one of their favorite parts of Denver. So the second area within Denver that I want to share with you guys today, I actually just sold a home in this part of Denver, and it's called Wheat Ridge. And actually I have a personal connection as well to Wheat Ridge. I actually went to Wheat Ridge High School and grew up on this part of the western side of Denver for pretty much my entire childhood, so I have a personal love for this part of town. But I do think, though, it's not just me. A lot of my clients, a lot of just activity is happening, and I'm seeing a lot more of it, especially in the last 6 months, for this part of Denver being really popular. I'm going to share with you guys a couple reasons for that here in a second. But Wheat Ridge is located just west of Sloan Lake and Highlands, which I earlier talked about in my first neighborhood. What I love so much about Wheat Ridge is I think it's the perfect location where it's smack dab in the middle of 2 of the best parts of living in the Mile High City in Denver. On the west of Wheat Ridge, you have the mountains. You've got the I-70 corridor that is a direct shot up to all the best ski areas in Colorado. And about the same distance to go that way, west, if you go east, you're about a 15, maybe 20-minute drive to downtown Denver. To get from most places in Wheat Ridge to Sloan Lake and Highlands, it could be as little as 5 to 7 minutes. So just for a perspective here, it's just west of Highlands and Sloan's Lake. And since it's a little bit further out, you're not seeing quite the same level of popularity and intense pricing of homes. And the best part of this area, and why I really push Wheat Ridge and motivate a lot of my clients to definitely give it a chance and look into this part of Denver, is it has a lot of homes that are significantly older And when I say older, I'm saying 1940s, 1950s, and some of these are actually still with the original homeowners or people that are in their now 60s, 70s, maybe early 80s that have been in their homes for a long period of time, and at some point are going to need to relocate either to something else that might be better serving their health concerns or health needs, and they might just be downsizing. So I love Wheat Ridge because there are a ton of hidden opportunities to find these valuable properties that have value add opportunities. So value add opportunities are just any homes that have some sweat equity, some ability to get in there and have a vision and be able to improve the property and bring it up to the standards that maybe the current market is expecting if you were to resell your home. So Wheat Ridge has some of the best opportunities for this type of home of anywhere in Denver. I've had a lot of friends that have been very successful with fix and flips, but also a lot of clients that have had good experiences where maybe their budget isn't quite as high, but they know they want to get into a home and they have the ability to put in some of their own sweat equity, their own hard work to improve the property themselves over a period of time. And in 5 years, they've got a home that has a lot more appreciation, a lot more value, and it's over time been created as the home of their dreams. So definitely want you guys to check out Wheat Ridge. Another thing I love about Wheat Ridge is it's kind of this blend where you're close to a lot of these urban features of Denver, like again, close to the Broncos Stadium and all these bigger city parks and the music venues, all that good stuff. Yet since you are a little bit out of the craziness of the traffic and congestion of places like Sloan's Lake and even north and south of downtown Denver, places like Erie, Brighton, Thornton, those are all areas north of Denver that just have so much more people that it's just always more crowded and it just doesn't have that same level of just kind of calm serenity when you get home from work or you just want to have a little bit more of a relaxing day and don't have to be worrying about all the traffic. So you deal with a lot of that in other parts, like I said, up in Erie, Brighton, Thornton, and also a lot of places down south like Aurora and even Littleton, and just areas that have a lot more density when it comes to their population. So I think one thing that's nice about Wheat Ridge, a lot of the homes are either ranch style or a little bit smaller, homes built in the 50s and 60s, 1,500 to 2,500 square feet. And since they are also older homes, a lot of times they're on larger lots. So if you do find a home in here, you'll usually have a larger backyard and just a little bit more privacy and space between your neighbors. That's one thing that when I lived in Highlands and Sloan's Lake, I really took that for granted, didn't realize until I moved over there, just how on top of everybody you are. And I like my space. I like going out in the backyard in the evening and not having a ton of noise or just, neighbors walking by me. And you're gonna feel like you're gonna have a lot more of those types of homes in Wheat Ridge than you would in other parts of Denver. So definitely check out Wheat Ridge. There has been also a lot of new development recently in Wheat Ridge, just with improving some of the major intersections. And what's happening from this is they're just coming in with brand new retail shopping centers, more up-to-date stores like Trader Joe's and Whole Foods and all that good stuff. But you can just start to see that Wheat Ridge is kind of turning a corner and starting to be, I think, that next popular Highlands in 10 years from now. So if you're really somebody that wants to get in at the early stage and get a great deal on a home that you think you're gonna hold on to for 5 to 10 years or longer, Wheat Ridge is one of the best bets. You can count on that for me. I guarantee that's gonna be one of your best spots in all of Denver. So check out Wheat Ridge. All right, and then my third and final neighborhood or just area within Denver that is a great spot for a lot of different reasons, and a lot of my clients have been gravitating to this side of town, and it's gonna be a little bit south of Denver, and it's gonna be an area called Grant Ranch. I've done a couple other videos on Grant Ranch, so definitely check out my YouTube channel and see some of those videos if you want to go a little bit more in depth on certain other pros and cons and aspects of why I love Grant Ranch. But why a lot of my clients recently have been just choosing this as an area to focus their searches on for homes is a few different things, but first and foremost, it is such a great blend of being a master plan community, yet also in an area where it doesn't feel like you're in the middle of all of this congestion and traffic and just a lot of stuff going on. You kind of are, even though you are in the thick of it, you're kind of in this great master plan community that they've done a really good job with landscaping and just developing where everything is located, where you do feel a lot more serene and private and don't have nearly that same level of again, congestion that you do in other parts of Denver, like Aurora, and again, like up north in Brighton, Erie, Thornton, all those areas. So if you're not familiar with what a master plan community is, that just means that they were very intentional when they built Grant Ranch, and they knew exactly where everything was going to go. So even if they didn't build all of the homes at once, they knew that these homes were going to be eventually built here. There'd be some really nice walking trails in between the different areas, and they just had this master plan from day one. And what I love about master plan communities is you have all of these great trails and just public recreational areas throughout that you can enjoy, and there's practically nobody ever on the trails or in these areas. You know, when you're in other parts of Denver and you're using the one city park that's in that neighborhood, or you're using the couple trails that exist in an area that never was master planned, you're gonna find they are much more, just busier, a lot of more people bike riding, just walking their dogs, just stuff going on all over the place. With Grant Ranch, you just don't have that, I go out almost every evening with my dog for a walk after work, and I rarely see more than a handful of people at most, and a lot of times those are people that over time I've gotten to know and can wave at and stop and talk to for a few minutes if I want to. So I just love that feeling of just community that you get with a master plan type community that you really don't find in a lot of other areas. And Denver does have a few of these. Highlands Ranch is the biggest in all of Colorado for master plan communities. And it's, I don't know how many times bigger than Grant Ranch, maybe 10 times the size. But what I love about Grant Ranch is that it has all of that great aspects of a master plan community, but not that insane size where you just have a lot more community type feel. Hopefully that wasn't too of a drawn out way to describe that, but that's one of the reasons why I love Grant Ranch. And I also just love this part of Denver. So just south of downtown Denver, you're gonna get onto a few different roads, but one that I always use is Santa Fe, which is Highway 85. And it's literally about a 20-minute drive south of downtown Denver to get into the Grant Ranch area, which is just on the cusp of Littleton and Denver. Some very nice homes in this part of Grant Ranch and Littleton. And also though, there's some great opportunities for starter homes and a little bit of everything. So what's really been nice about Grant Ranch and Littleton in this part of Denver on the south side of town is that for a lot of my clients that are, again, maybe entry level, where they're just trying to find their first starter home, they know they're not going to be in there forever, they're going to start a family in a couple years and want to upgrade, there's opportunities to find places like that here. Or I've also had clients that are more mature and maybe in their 40s and already have their careers and their kids are a little bit older, and there's nicer, larger homes that have maybe 3 stories where there's more private parts of the home for their teenagers to have, and more just better layout for families that are growing into that phase of their lives. And I also have clients, I had one recently in the Ken Carroll area, which is a little bit west of Grant Ranch, but it's also in Littleton, where they were recently empty nesters and they wanted to sell their home and downsize. So there's just a lot of different types of homes in Littleton and in Grant Ranch, and I think you really can find something that fits almost anybody, depending on what your must-haves and what your needs are for your home. So I think Grant Ranch is definitely a great area to check out. And the last thing that I'll say about why I love Grant Ranch, there's a ton of water. So if you haven't figured out yet, Denver doesn't have a lot of water. We don't have a lot of lakes, reservoirs. We're very limited when it comes to that. I'd say that's one of the bigger negatives of living in Denver is you just don't have a ton of water when it comes to water skiing and boating and just all of the water activities, especially in the summertime. With Grant Ranch, you actually have access to a private lake that all the Grant Ranch residents get to use. There's a clubhouse with a pool, there's different docks. In fact, the neighborhood right next to mine in Grant Ranch, it's called Belvedere, and they actually have their own private dock where any homes that are in that area have the ability to reserve one of the dock spaces on their private dock and have their pontoon boats to go out and enjoy evening sunset cruises and go fishing. And I don't have that available where I live in my area, but I do have some paddle boards, and I can grab my paddle board and literally walk for under 30 seconds and I'm on the water enjoying a lake that has practically nobody on it, and just another very unique feature that very few people get to appreciate when living in a place like Denver that doesn't have a ton of water opportunities. So definitely Grant Ranch is unique in that aspect too, and another reason why a lot of my clients love this part of town. All right, so hopefully you guys got some value out of that. Again, 3 neighborhoods, 3 parts of the Denver area that a lot of my clients are gravitating towards right now. I think all 3 of these are very unique in their own respects, but they all have some features and just some reasons why I think they are must-see areas in the Denver area to check out if you're just unsure at the moment about where you want to maybe consider living here in the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado. Before we close out this video, I just want to remind you guys, I have some great resources available for anybody like yourselves that are just unsure right now on the buying process or just what parts of town you want to live in. So I've got free buyer guides, seller guides, as well as a new construction guide that's over 40 pages long. I just finished it a couple days ago. So I've got links for all of those. They're completely free down below. And as always, my phone number, my email, all that info is down below. I would love just the opportunity to connect with you. I love just talking to new people that are considering moving here to Denver, whether you're looking to move in 6 months or maybe not for a couple years. No worries whatsoever. I would love to still chat with you and hopefully find a few ways that I can provide value to you today. I love sharing this beautiful city with all of my viewers on the Living in Denver channel, and I would love to do the same for you. So again, please reach out. Don't forget, hit that like and that subscribe button. New videos being released every single week. And until next week, have a great rest of your day, and I'll look forward to sharing an all new video next week with you on Living in Denver. Have a good one. Bye.